Okay, we're doing page 366, 1 through 34, 37 through 40. We're doing the odds right now, obviously. Okay, number 1. Does anybody have an idea what we should do first on number 1? Raise your hand, Katie.
6 times -3.
Correct. 6 times -3 is -18. Okay. And then for the letters, you do m squared times m. Katie, so.
M to the 30.
That is correct. So when you multiply m's together, you add their exponents. M times m. So we did m squared times m, basically. And since it just says m, that means there's one of them. So 3 m's multiplied together, m cubed. And then how many n's in that? 12, okay. So that would be number 1. Number 2 is different, and I'm not going to do it exactly, but let's talk about it a little bit. What's different? What do we do on number 2? Does anybody else remember? Kind of distributive property. Yeah, everything is to the third. When it says 3 to the third, you actually do 3 times 3 times 3. It's 27. How do you do g to the second to the third, though? What do you do with that? Multiply the exponents. So on number 1, that's an adding the exponent situation. Number 2 is multiplying exponents. Okay, number 3 is division. I am going to write the problem with the division bar because that might be less confusing. So it looks like this, 9ab squared. Okay, so 81 divided by 9. Okay, how did we do this though? A4 divided by A. Do you say it? Minus. So it's 4 minus 1. So it's 3. Revelations. Shocking. So B3 divided by B. B2. And C2 divided by C2. Cancel out. Hmm?
Number
Did you make
4
a
is
bad
both.
science joke?
Yeah.
On 4, when you're multiplying fractions, really the top is like one giant fraction because you do top times top, so it all goes together, and bottom times bottom, it all goes together. So 4 you could rewrite as 4w7z3 over 2, put w2z. So it just multiplies together. But then you still have to divide like we just did. So it looks like 2 fractions, but when you multiply them together, it's really like one big fraction.
I can't.
Number 5, kind of like number 3, isn't it? So, let's see. 8 divided by 2. What's M4 divided by M2? I'm on number 5. What's M to the 4th divided by M squared? M to the second. And what is n to the second divided by n? N. And then what's p to the 5th divided by p? P to the 4th. Is there anything tricky about 6? On 6, you need to do the exponents on the parentheses first. Then remember that means multiply. So like the 2 times 2, and on the bottom the y is basically a 1 times 2. And then everything on the top's together, everything's on the bottom together, and basically you're going to have to divide the top by the bottom. So it's kind of like number 5 after that. Number, where are we? 7. Okay. Now, they did not say this in the directions, but normally no negative exponents. Okay, that's what they usually mean when they say simplify. Okay, no, can't leave the negative exponents. What's gonna happen to the y's though? Cancel out. So all we have is x to the negative 3 on the bottom. What's another way of writing that without the negative exponent?
X squared over 1.
Close. Yes. Well, you said it kind
X
of.
to negative third.
Okay, no. It's x to the third
X to the
on the
third.
top. It is on the
X to the
bottom.
third.
It is x to the third, but on the top. That's what the negative exponent does to it. So it's x to the third on the top. If it's on the top, you don't really need a bottom. So it's just x to the third.
But I said that.
Well, you said x to the third over 1. I thought you meant, yeah, it sounded confusing. Okay.
But I still got it right.
Okay, you got it right.
Good job,
He's saying
Leah.
it, so
You did something.
he's saying it.
Okay, number 9. What do we do when we multiply the same bases together? What do we do with the exponents? Add. So what is 5 plus x minus 5? What is, 5
Wait.
plus x minus 5?
X.
X. So what's the answer?
4x.
No. Okay, why is it not 4? Because when you're adding the exponents, you are saying how many times the 2 gets multiplied together. So you don't change the base. You just change the exponent.
Can you do 8, please?
What do you do when you have a 2a to the third? What do you do in that situation? Multiply. What's 2a times 3? 6a. What do you do when you have y to the 6a over y to the 4a? What kind of, when we divide the y's, what do we do with the exponents? Subtract.
So it's
So the question is, what is 6a minus 4a? 2a. That's not the answer, that's the exponent. That's not the answer, that's the exponent.
oh, y.
We subtracted the exponents. The exponent's not the answer, it's part of the answer. 11.
What?
10 looks scary, doesn't it?
Yes.
If you simplify those terms, like for example, the first term j negative 2, j5 is actually j3 if you add them together. So you have 2 j3 k4. All of those terms I think will end up being j3 k4s, which means they're like terms, and remember you can add it and subtract like terms together. So I'm going to leave that one to you guys to try. You can ask for help individually if you want to. Okay, 11, simplify, leaving everything in the numerator. In other words, if we get like x to the negative third, we're not going to put it on the bottom, we're just going to leave it x to the negative third, or whatever. Okay, negative 3, is there anything I can do with that on 11? No, so it's just going to go in the answer. Okay, what's m to the negative third divided by m, period?
What?
Negative 4. Negative 3 minus 1 is negative 4. So we used to do like, instead of writing m to the negative 4, we'd be like that. M to the 4 on the bottom. But the directions say don't do that. They just say leave it in the numerator, the top. So it's just going to leave it like that. What's R7 divided by R2? R5. And S negative 4 divided by S2. Right, negative 4 minus 2 is negative 6. So it's kind of easier really because you don't have to move stuff up or down, you subtract.
Sam, yes.
Good luck.
Thank you.
You have a doctor's appointment or something. Okay, same, I am recording this. so
Alright
if you
guys,
want.
Sam's leaving, shut the party.
Everybody cheering real loud. Party! Just kidding, Sam, we'll be crying without you.
Thank you, Mr. Jordan.
Okay, number 13.
Wait till Sam sees the rest of this video.
So when two fractions are multiplied together, they're really just one big fraction. So we're going to do the top divided by the bottom. Actually, actually let's put the top together and the bottom together. So the -3 is the only number on top, so it's going to stay up there. Okay, I see x squared on top. Are there any more x's on top? No. I see a y to the -3rd on top. And on the right side, how many y's do we have? 2. Because that whole thing is squared. So really that's a y squared. By the way, the negative in the parentheses is squared. What happens when you square that negative? It becomes positive. But there's also a negative in front of the 3. So there's one negative. So our answer is going to be negative, basically. All right. So we have a y to the -3 on top and basically another y to the 2 on top. Just gonna leave it like that for now. On the bottom I see x to the -1. I see a y. I see a 2 down there, but that 2 is not really a 2. What is it? I should have simplified that, right? Parentheses first. It's actually a 4. Because it's 2 squared, it's a 4 on the bottom. So I'm going to put a 4 down here. And that x cubed is on the bottom is not really an x cubed, it's an x6. All kinds of mess going on here. So what do we do with these y's right here? How would we simplify that? Add exponents. When you multiply the y's, you add their exponent. -3 plus 2 is what? -1. And then I've got another y down here, right? Right there. So what's -3 plus -1 minus 1? -2. So all my y's, I know I'm kind of skipping a couple steps because it's taking a long time. -3 plus 2 minus 1. That's basically what I did. -3 plus 2 minus 1. I probably should have done the normal numbers first. What's -3 over 4? Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't really do anything. So -3/4. Okay, probably should have done the x's first because it's alphabetical order. But I got, what am I going to do with this -1? What am I going to do with this -1? I'm going to do 2 minus -1 or plus 1, yes. And what am I going to do with the 6? It's all minus the 6 also. So it's 2 minus -1 minus 6. It's on the bottom. If you want to put these together first, you could. You could add these together. And that would be 5. And then you could do 2 minus 5. Or you could do 2 minus -1 minus 6. It's the same thing. Does that make sense? It works both ways. Anyway, 2 plus 1 is 3 minus 6, -3. Now the book would have done that in alphabetical order, so they put their x's in there right there. So when we, I guess we don't grade the odds, so never mind. It's a special occasion today. Lydia and Katie are wearing makeup.
Well, that's because I have Rudolph on my nose. And my
Oh.
face broke out yesterday, so.
Oh, is that what that means whenever makeup's on?
You didn't notice my makeup.
did not. Okay, number
Did I say
15.
day?
We ever noticed
Okay, 15. Okay, we're back to positive exponents. So if we get a negative exponent, we're gonna flip it. 5 times, kind of like number 1, right? What's 5 times negative 3?
What?
What's 5 times negative 3?
Negative 15.
Negative 15.
Yes.
Okay, what is a to the negative 4th? Nope, I'm on the wrong line. What is x to the negative 3rd times x to the negative 3rd?
X to the 6.
X. Okay,
X to the next.
yeah, we're gonna have to fix that later because they said positive exponents only, but I'll leave it alone for now.
Yeah.
Okay, what is b? No, I'm on the wrong line again. What is y squared times y?
Y squared times Y.
Y to the 3rd. And what is z4 times z negative 5? Okay, this section says no negative exponents. So how do I get rid of the negative on
Flip
exponent?
on.
You
Flip it.
erase it.
Okay, so this is going to go to the bottom as x to the 6, positive 6. And this is going to go to the bottom as a z. So it's negative 15 y cubed, still on top, over x6 z. So this section is a little bit harder than. On the last section, we could have stopped right here.
Wait, why don't you flip the 15? Can you not flip the 15 to the bottom? Make
Negative
it go
15
to-
is not to the negative anything. It's just a negative 15. Negative 15 is like negative 15 over 1. It's just on top. Okay. Remember we kind of had some struggles with these two lessons, like 1 through 17. Kind of tough, huh? All right, 17. What do we do on 17?
Where is it? We gotta leave all the edges positive.
Well, I know, but what do we do?
Oh. You multiply the exponent.
Kind of distribute the negative 2 out to everything. So, what is negative 2 to the negative 2? I'm afraid we're going to get this wrong.
1.
What is negative 2 to the negative 2?
Negative 1/4.
0.
Negative 1. I don't know.
You're very close.
Positive 1?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, what if I said, what's negative 2 squared? What would that be?
Negative
What would this be?
1. Negative 4.
It's negative 2 times negative 2 is 4.
4.
Okay, when the negative's in parentheses, it's squared. Negative times negative is 5. So it's 4. So if the only thing I change is the exponent right there to a negative, it's 1 over 4. So I'm just gonna put a 4 on the bottom. You could put a 1 on top, but it's probably gonna disappear because there's probably gonna be some other stuff on top. Okay, a to the 3rd to the negative 2nd would be what? A to the 3rd to the negative 2nd.
Negative.
Nope. You're right the first time, it's negative. A to the negative 6, right? 3 times negative 2. So what do I do with the a to the 6th? Put it on the bottom. And then what do I have with the b's?
You gotta multiply.
Multiply
10.
10,
Negative, wait, no, 10.
which is positive 10, right? So it's staying up top. Everything's default position is at the top. Like all these numbers, all this is on, you could write it as over 1. It's on the top right now.
If we were to put that a 1, like still on the top, but it's like without.
Okay, if you put a 1 right there, it would not be wrong, but 1 times b to the 10th is just b to the 10th, so it doesn't really matter. It's too big.
Can you help us on 18?
Maybe today, let's go to like 27. That way we'll be like halfway done. Okay. 18, I might, yeah, okay. I'll help you guys set
Well,
up
we're
18.
already halfway done.
Okay. Well, yeah, we are about halfway done, but
We only have 38, so
Right.
17 is how much?
19 will be halfway, but I'm afraid the other problems might
How
take a
about
little.
we extend this lesson?
No.
Oh, okay.
This is a 2-day assignment, I already said that
Oh.
a couple times at the beginning. Okay, number 18, we'll ask for help, it's probably a good idea. Okay, it says, write, I'm guessing we don't recognize V equals 1/3 pi r squared h.
I don't remember pi r squared.
Pi r squared is the area of a circle. That's the volume formula for a cone, okay, which I don't think we ever learned. Oh, it tells you it's the volume of a cone. With the radius of AB cubed. So what they're telling us is to, what do you guys think R stands for?
Radius.
What do you think H stands for?
Height.
Okay, you're correct. V stands for volume. Radius, height. Okay. If you read the problem, it says the radius is AB cubed. What do you think I'm supposed to do with AB cubed? Put it for the R, which means that. Okay, and then it also says the height is 6B over A. What do you think I do with that? Put it for the H. So, we're supposed to simplify that.
What about the pi?
How do you simplify?
Pi can't really do much. Well, what can we do? What can we do?
It's a piece of.
Okay, what? Shh. What does this become in parentheses?
A2B6.
A2B6, right? A2B6. This 1/3 pi, okay, we'll come back to that. A2B6, order of operations, exponents first, right? Now, there's only one thing in the denominators. I could, if I wanted to, I could do that. Well, 3 is kind of the denominator too. Yeah. Okay, does anybody else have an idea of something we could do? I guess I could keep, that's weird to put the fraction in the numerator, but that's okay, we'll do that. What else can be done?
There's 2 A's.
The A's. A squared divided by A. A. So there's going to be one. Actually, let's start with the normal numbers because that usually goes first. So I see a 1/3 times a 6. What's 1/3 times 6 is 2. And A squared, okay, pi, there's nothing to do with pi, so I'm just going to throw them up there. A squared divided by A is A. What do I do with the B's? By Adam, right. So it's 7. B7. Did I get everything? Yes, I did. We subtracted those, we added those, we multiplied those, we left pi on. Well, no, I probably would put one that tricky on there. But after you set it up, I mean, it's kind of like number 2. All right, yeah, that was a hard one. 19. We're supposed to change that number, that decimal number, into scientific notation.
Oh, I have how.
Of decimal.
1, 2, 4 times to the right.
Okay, you guys remember how to do 19.000319 equals what? Okay, where's the decimal supposed to go in scientific notation?
Behind the first one number.
Okay, after the first non-zero digits, 3.19, then we always put times 10, and then what do we do?
So we made it bigger.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So
If you're, right, if you're doing a decimal in scientific, it's gonna be a small, right? So it's actually -4. If you do a big number in scientific, it'll be a positive exponent. Okay, on 20, it says express blah 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 in standard notation.
I forgot it.
What does standard mean?
It's
Normal. Change it to a normal number. That one you actually could just plug in your calculator, but what does it do when you do times 10 to the 8th? What happens?
like more zeros, 8 more zeros.
The decimal moves 8 places to the right. Gets bigger. When you do times 10 to the 8th, that's like multiplying by 10 8 times. Every time you multiply by 10, the decimal moves another space to the right. But you could also just plug in your calculator to get that one. Okay, 21. This is the worksheet we just created. This will be our last section for today.
Wait.
We'll be over halfway done then. Okay, you guys remember how we did these? If it's a division problem,
We subtract.
you divide the normal numbers. So we do 9 divided by 3 is 3. And then you subtract the exponents, right? So what's 10 to the 8th divided by 10 to the 3rd?
10 to the 5th.
10 to the 5th. Is this in scientific notation?
Yeah.
Yes. The decimal is right after the 3. You don't have to write this. So this is acceptable. You could write it like that if you wanted
What
to.
happens with the oh, you
You don't have to write both of these. These are the same thing.
I just did that.
23 is a power. So 22 is multiply. So make sure you're multiplying. 23 is 5 times 10 to the 4th cubed. So 5 to the 3rd and 10 to the 4th to the 3rd. How do we do 5 to the 3rd?
5 times 5 is 5.
5 times-
13.
Nope.
Oh.
5 times 5 is
125.
125. Okay.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah, it's not 5 times 3. Exponents are not
I think they're a little off.
the exact same as multiplying. Okay, 10 to the 4th to the 3rd. 10 to the 12th. Okay, is this in scientific notation?
No.
No. The decimal needs to be right here, and right now it's right here.
2 places to the left.
Right. If I move it 2 places to the left, I'm making the number 2 moves smaller.
So you do 10 to the 14.
Right, so to make up for it, I make this bigger by 2. Most of your calculators have a scientific notation. Not like it'll spit out your answer in scientific notation, but you'd have to figure out how to do it to help
Can
you
you
out.
round if it's a really big number when you divide? Or you should do it
That was
number.
Where'd you get a really big number like that?
24 when you divide.
It's not dividing, it's subtracting.
No, whenever you divide the numbers.
Okay, on 24 and 25, they're subtracting and adding, which is actually the hardest kind. So 25 is
See that there's
subtraction. You can only subtract and add like terms. So if they're not both 10 to the negative third or 10 to the negative second, you can't add them together. So I'm going to make it, if I change 4 to 0.4, that's 1 move smaller, right? So I get to make my exponent 1 move bigger. So I'm going to change 4 to 0.4, and then if this gets smaller, this gets to get bigger. What's bigger than negative 3? Negative 2. Now I have like terms. Now I can subtract. No, 25 is add, sorry. Now I can add 5 times 10 to the 2. So basically I have 0.4 of these plus 5 of these, which is how many? 5.4 of these. We have 0.4 of these plus 5 of the same things. So what do we have all together? We have 5.4 of these things. Okay, if you don't remember how to do that, well, there is one of these on the test, or two maybe. I would plug the whole thing in my calculator, and then I would just change it to scientific notation. Okay, so it would come out as 0.0. If you plug this in the calculator, it just moves the decimal back. It would say this. So just change that to scientific notation, and voila. Still have the
Can you
ready.
just put it in the calculator exactly how it's written on
You can put it exactly. Some calculators. No, yeah. Unless your calculator can't do a bunch of stuff at once, it should work. If you can write the whole thing in without hitting enter, then yeah, I can do it. Oh wait, we're done. Okay, for today. You guys got about 8th graders got about 5 minutes.